start by asking everybody online to put their cameras on, please. It is in standing orders. Can you please put your cameras on? Thank you. We've had apologies for absence from Councillor Peter May and co-opted members, Councillors Lyndon Jones, Mary Jones and Sue Jones, and the Education Co-optee Beth Allender. For the benefit of those who are online, we're going to introduce ourselves in the room, so I'm going to start with Bridge and work that way.
Good afternoon, everyone. Rich Madhar from the Council Scrutiny team.
I'm Peter Black, I'm the Chair.
Hello, I'm Adrian Jeremiah. I'm a solicitor employed by the Council.
Good afternoon, Samantha Jenkins, Democratic Services Officer.
Councillor Wendy Lewis, One Arloyd Ward. Good afternoon, Councillor Andrew Lewis, Cabinet Member for Service Transformation.
Good afternoon, Sarah Lackenby, Head of Digital and Customer Services.
Lovely, thank you, everybody. Can we move then to disclosures of personal and prejudicial interest? Anybody got anything they want to declare? No? Okay. So let's move on to prohibition of whip votes and declaration of party whips, which is to note, and then the minutes of the last meeting. So I'll just go through them page by page. So on page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5, page 6 and page 7. Are we happy that those are accurate minutes? Yeah, okay, thank you very much indeed. In that case, public question time is item 5. We haven't had any. So we go straight on to item 6, which is the follow-up on the Scrutiny Working Group on Customer Contact. Can I welcome Councillor Andrea Lewis, Cabinet Member for Service Transformation, and Sarah Lackenby, the Head of Digital and Customer Services. Andrea, do you want to introduce this, please?
Yeah, thank you very much, Chair. So the purpose of the report today is to give an update to the Scrutiny Programme Committee on Customer Contact Improvements. We have seen a massive shift to online services, particularly since the pandemic, with much fewer phone calls and more online forms and emails. So in terms of performance, all corporate call centre positions are now filled, and that's having an impact on improving performance. Our phone calls have been reduced by 35%, and our online forms and emails have increased by 90% since 2022-23. And other call centres have also improved by 27% comparing to the January performance data year to year. The Phone Access Review project started in autumn 2024 and it completes this month. This assesses the usability, the accessibility and the effectiveness of phone access channels and evaluates response times and recommends improvements. And there are expected benefits in terms of improved customer access, consistent service standards, reduced abusive calls and complaints, and improved staff well-being. In terms of the Unified Communications Project, this relies on modern tools like Teams and web chat and combines email, web chat and social media. This provides better tools to manage calls, including recording and real-time resource management. And the pilot begins later this month with a full rollout starting in April, completing March next year. So a quick update on the Swansea account project. The current focus is incorporating commercial waste, registrars, housing and public protection into the Swansea account by the end of May. And more services will be added by next March. Phone support is offered to residents as well, needing assistance setting up and logging into the Swansea account. And then in terms of customer contact target and operate model, affectionately known as TOM, this replaces the strategic framework and aims to improve accessibility, effectiveness and inclusivity of customer contact channels. It utilises new technologies and tools, including chatbots and performance dashboards. And also the City Centre Community Hub, Astorva, is due to open early October. So in conclusion, we have seen significant performance improvements, a lot of ongoing projects and our future plans are outlined in the report. Happy to take any questions, Chair.
Thank you very much indeed. This is a follow-up scrutiny, I'm going to just focus on some of the issues which we raised in our letter last time. Some of them you have addressed in the report, and some, well, I think we just get an update more than anything else. So the first one is about the contact details. I think we felt at the time that the officer contact details weren't always accurate on to what extent have we managed to get a grip on that?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. But if with your forgiveness, I should have mentioned sincere thanks to Sarah Larkenby, who's done an incredible amount of work on this particular, as well as other things. But Sarah is a small team of one, and she's done a fantastic job. So I should have mentioned that in my introduction. My apologies for it's remiss of me to miss that out. In terms of the accuracy of officer contact details, a significant amount of work has been undertaken around this, particularly in terms of the phone access review process that we're going through at the moment. Service representatives have reviewed lists of all their own phone numbers and checked that they were accurate. And reminders also went out to heads of service. Any numbers not reached during the mystery shopping will also be investigated further. So again, my thanks to Sarah for her work on this. There's nothing worse than trying to get through to the right person and you just can't get through. It's very frustrating, I'm sure. So it's really important that we improve the access for the public in terms of getting through to the right officer for the right reason.
Yeah, okay. So sometimes the public struggle to find the numbers anyway, don't they? Yeah. Okay, so the other issue was out of office messages. We felt at the time a lack of consistency, and I think we also felt that the out of office message internally should be a bit more precise in terms of when the officer was returning. Are we on top of that? I mean, I haven't really noticed much change, but I'm sure that it has been improvement there.
Yeah, so following scrutiny, the last time we came to speak with you, guidance went out. So that went out via email, and the updated guidance can be found. I don't know, Sarah, if you want to take us through that line.
Yeah, it's on StaffNet as well. So we've sent out the guidance, and it's always referencing on the page on StaffNet that the staff can then reference. And we've been working with staff to explain, obviously, you can set your out of office for internal and external. So external, sometimes you might want to be more cautious about putting dates into that, but internally you can tell everybody internally, obviously, when you're back. So we've been trying to work with people on that, but there's guidance on StaffNet.
Have you noticed much difference in terms since that guidance went on there?
I haven't heard many complaints unless you're going to
no,
I haven't heard of any since the last meeting, actually, so I was taking that as a positive.
Okay, to be honest, I haven't really paid much attention. I may keep an eye on that and email you if I see something.
Yeah, do if you find any examples, let me know. Yeah
Okay, and then telephone call handling. I think this is the biggest issue for members of the public in terms of can they get through, and we were talking about a phone queue system and a callback option. That was being rolled out beyond the environmental health call. What's the latest on that? Yeah, Andrew.
Thank you, Chair. So the functionality to tell callers where they are in the queue has also been introduced with revenues and benefits.
Yeah.
But it was causing some difficulties, so we had to remove it. A caller may be first in the queue, but still have a significant wait if all staff are busy with complicated queries. So the new system handles this a lot better through average waiting time and will be introduced as part of a new unified communications project for the coming year. And the callback option is not possible with the current system, but is coming with the new unified communications project. Sarah, I don't know if you want to add anything further to that as well.
Yes, I think one of the problems that people were experiencing is just you could be number one in the queue for a significant time if everybody was busy, and sometimes, unfortunately, people are dealing with very complicated things. So that was then confusing, where people thought was the phone system broken because they didn't seem to be getting through. Whereas average wait time is more helpful because then it's constantly telling the caller that how long they've got to wait, and then they know. And again, with the other functionality around callback, with the new system, we think that's just those two elements will be much easier for residents when they're ringing in. And we're also obviously, as Councillor Lewis mentioned at the beginning, we're seeing the decline in phone calls anyway.
Yeah.
And with being more fully staffed, we're seeing less abandoned calls. So with all of that mix of improvements, then we're hoping that will have a positive impact on the phone handling generally.
What's the timescale for this system to come into force?
So there's piloting from the end of the month through April, and then we're rolling it out through the different services. So it'll be fully implemented by next March, but we should see, quite a few people going live on it in the next few months.
Yeah, I mean, I know what you're saying about the number of telephone calls declining. It's just that most of the people I get calls from who are having difficulty getting hold of the council are not computer literate. And particularly a certain age group, and they say, well, "Have you got a smartphone?" I haven't got a smartphone, so, and they rely on the phone to get through to the council, and they're the ones I think which we're having the most feedback from in terms of that. So a callback option I think would be welcome to everybody.
And definitely where you've got services like people applying for bus passes and blue badges, because bus passes are only online. We do have a lot of residents that phone us to ask help with completing the form, and obviously that takes significant time. Sometimes we'll make appointments as well for people so that we, they can bring in documentation as well. But often we can do it over the phone, but it does take considerable time. But we would always be able to help people through customer services with that.
Yeah, I mean, residents parking permits as well is another one. I've had people ring me up saying, I've tried 4 or 5 times to do this. I can't get it to work and stuff, and that sort of stuff. I suppose, I mean, they do know, of course, they could go to the local library and get them to help them do it, do they? Or
yeah, absolutely. And local libraries do a lot of that.
I know they do.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's all kinds of access points that people do use completely. Yeah, but we do also get quite a few on the phone, people who may not be able to leave the house as easily.
Yeah, just on the point, if you do come across somebody that's having difficulties, obviously let us know and we can happily investigate that to try and sort out any problems.
Yeah, I mean, normally if somebody comes to me like that, I will normally speak to the relevant officer and get them to ring them, which is the best way to do it. But of course, they can be referred to other places where they can sit down with them and help them through that sort of thing. I think the problem is everything's going digital, but there's a significant number of people, well, a minority of people who are not digitally competent or aware, and that is a big issue. Yeah, 'cause I think I came across some people who were doing internships here from Holland once, and I had a chat with them about it, and I said, what's the big difference? And they said the big difference is in our country is like 90% computer literate, whereas here it's much lower, and that's one of the things they were finding, the difficulty they were finding. So that is a problem, I think. But yeah, go on, Andrea. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that, and this is why we recognise there's not a one-size-fits-all approach to customer contact. And I think the importance then of a store where you'll have meet and greet people that will help and assist people to report an issue. There'll be tablets at the reception desk there, and officers can assist the public to report things online using the tablet. So we tried to think about the whole approach, whole system approach, as opposed to just expecting everybody to be on email and go online and find technology easy, because we appreciate that's not the case. There will be a proportion of our residents who can't. So that's why the face-to-face contact's really important.
Yeah, okay. Right, moving on to the website, what improvements we made over the past year then, and particularly automated responses, response times, etc., online forms?
Yeah, so in terms of the customer account, the link is now live. It includes bookings and case management. Next, as I said, to be added is registrars with commercial waste to follow. We're also doing a form review and making updates so that forms can autofill for the contact information and allow longer forms to be saved in the customer account. In terms of case management for FOI, SAR and CCTV, these are the first areas to use case management, which brings in all the details and information into one place so that the service user or resident can see their query, status and case history, even if they're not logged into their account. and Find My Nearest mapping. This new mapping currently includes parks and open spaces, and also Swansea spaces and food banks. And you can find that at www.swansea.gov.uk/Swansea Spaces map.
Yeah.
And there is very detailed information on each location behind the mapping, and the resident can search for the nearest locations by using their postcode. So lots of success in that area in terms of improvements to the website, which again, really grateful to Sarah for leading on that. And I don't know if there's anything I've missed and you want to add, Sarah, but some good work going on there.
So in terms of the number of people using those facilities, has that been a steady increase?
It's relatively new with us going
Yeah.
live with the new functionality at the moment. So we've
Yeah.
we did have the old Swansea account on. This is the newer version with more functionality in.
Yeah.
But we've brought into that people being able to book in for Plans Hamlet and places like that. So they should still be able to, they'll be able to use the new functionality as they were with
As
bookings.
part of their existing account. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, 'cause I mean, I'm trying not to be negative because I think the website is a massively good resource. But a lot of my queries, I'm directing people to go and look at the website because they don't know what's on there. You know, and a lot of who's my counsellor? You know, it's on the website. So I think there's an issue here in terms of making people aware of what is on the website and what the resource is in the website, which they can make use of. A lot of people just put a question on Facebook. Rather than actually look at the website themselves. They're online, they know how to use the computer and how to use a smartphone, but they don't actually think of looking at the website. So I think in terms of maybe make a greater awareness of what is available on the website, might be one way to think how we could do that perhaps. Yeah. Yeah, go on, Sarah.
Yeah, and one of the things that we do as well is just how we use Google as well. So when people do put searches in to search engines like Google, then it comes up with the exact page that they need. So this, for example, as in the example you gave, if they are looking for their counsellor, it'll take them to the Find My Counsellor page on the website directly, rather than having to go through the home page and then navigate. They can be taken straight there. So we're working quite hard to make sure that those search results come at the top of the page on search engines as well.
Don't Google charge for that sort of thing?
Well, I mean, as a .gov.uk domain, we're able to do an awful lot with our analytics to be able to sort of improve that. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Right. I've run out of questions. Has anybody else got any questions at all on this at all? Are we all happy? I'm looking at the screen here. No one seems to be volunteering. So thank you for that. And we'll move on to the next item. So that'd be great. Thanks very much. So the next item is going to be review digital strategy and transformation. And Andrea, it's you again. And Sarah.
Thank you, Chair. And again, you know, much appreciation and thanks to Sarah, and I can say at this point, and the team. But you know, with this strategy, obviously you've got digital services at the heart of it, but it's also critically important those services and departments play a very proactive role as well, because we're heavily reliant on them because they're the front line of the service. So if we're talking about transformation and improvements, it's important we bring them with us as well. So thanks all round really to everybody involved. In terms of background and context, on the 20th of April 2023, Cabinet approved the digital strategy for 2023 to 28. We had a 6-week consultation and feedback was incorporated. 21 projects were considered and 16 were selected from for the programme, and £2 million was allocated from the restructuring reserve for the project delivery. So in terms of progress update, there's a summary of advancements in Appendix A, but the key improvements include customer service, improved interaction channels, phone access review, customer charter and service standards, digital services, the Swansea account creation and automation processes. And in terms of infrastructure, the ERP system migration to the cloud, the new data centre and ongoing Azure cloud project. And in terms of data, the Microsoft Copilot pilot, schools and education's MIS projects. There's also skilled workforce, digital apprenticeships, training, collaboration sessions, and connected city in terms of small cell installation, gigabit broadband voucher schemes, and Internet of Things project. In terms of the benefits and the impact, a benefits tracker was developed to provide ongoing monitoring. And examples of the benefits to date are improved customer access, reduction in abandoned call rates, process automation for overdue invoices and universal credit processing, customer charter and services standard established, sensors in litter bins and water safety stations for real-time updates to make that service far more efficient, and small cell installation for better mobile coverage. In terms of the current challenges, there have been some project delays due to thorough market testing and extended timelines to March 2026. Also, I mentioned the services and departments, but it's about balancing the routine work with the transformation projects, which still remains a risk. And that's managed by the Digital Transformation Programme Board, of which I chair. In terms of next steps and key priorities for 25-26, we complete the procurement activities by the 31st of March next year. We monitor the benefits tracker. We have monthly progress reports to the Digital Transformation Board, an annual review and update, and developing new project pipeline to achieve the strategic goals by 2028. So in summary, there's been significant progress since the approval in April 2023. Key achievements are in customer services, digital services, infrastructure, data, workforce and connectivity. And the benefits being identified and monitored with some delays due to the market testing and procurement, and key priorities including completing procurements, monitoring benefits and providing progress reports. And the financial implications, the projects are within budget, I'm pleased to say, and market testing and procurements have been extending in terms of the projects into 25-26. Happy to take any questions.
Okay, thank you. I'm tempted to say if you're putting sensors into litter bins, you should also have a little camera to catch people who fly tip next to them, because the litter bins attract more fly tipping than anywhere else. I know. Okay, so this is me being very non-technical now. Right, I had an email the other day telling us we're going to this Microsoft Copilot pilot, and what is it? I mean, I know it's AI, so in words of one syllable, what is it going to do for us, and how does it work?
So it still needs human interaction. So it's Copilot, not autopilot.
I got that.
Is
Yeah.
what people say. So yes, but equally, what it will do is it'll provide a lot of automation of routine tasks for all of us. So, for example, if you're needing to do a degree of research around a topic, you can ask it to go and it will research within our organization, but it will also research the whole internet as well for information. Now, you'd have to check that when the research comes back. You do have to check it for accuracy. It will give you the links where it's found the information, and then you can go and check it. But in terms of actually having to go out and actually do that research, which would ordinarily take any of us days and days, it's taking some of that routine work out of it and helping us as a sort of digital assistant. It also will help in terms of drafting. So, for example, like today's meeting, it will take minutes and actions, which again, you'd have to check, but it will save time. It will be able to take minutes of and notes of meetings. So casework, when people have got if you think about social workers who might have a lot of a significant caseload, they'd actually be able to use that to actually pull some of the administrative work together, which is taking up a lot of social work time, so that the social workers can then actually apply social work knowledge rather than having to do administrative tasks. So there's an element of that. Also, it can help draft emails. So if you're wanting to sort of draft you've got a sentiment of something that you want to say, you've got a whole host of information, but you can ask it then to draft it into a certain style for you. It can do that. It can draft reports. again, all these things you have to, as a human being, you've got to make sure that it won't get 100% accurate, but what it will do is 80-90% of some of the legwork for you, and then you're applying your knowledge to it, which is quite helpful. So we've been piloting this across the organisation in various different teams to see how it might help them in their daily work. I think, again, for councillors, you know, it could retrieve information quickly for you if you're trying to find out about projects internally. It might, you know, past decisions, for example, if you're trying to find past decisions, it can trawl through the things that have gone onto our website. It's all kinds of things that it can do to save you time. What we are encouraging people to do is to use it within our tenancy. So make sure you are logged in when you're using it, because that keeps it secure. It's very important that no sensitive data leaks out into the internet. So using any free versions of AI, if you put anything sensitive in there, it has the potential to go onto the internet. But what we do is as long as people are logged in and they're keeping it within our tenancy, then it's very secure, and it's just it can still draw from the internet, but it's keeping the information secure within our own tenancy. So the feedback we've had so far with the teams that we've been working, we've been doing significant amount of training with people on how to use it. You can put prompts in there, so it's only as good as the prompts you put in. So we've been helping people with that. Again, with the security aspects. So we've had some really positive feedback from a lot of people about how it's really saving time on a lot of routine tasks for them.
So when I log on to Office 365, the square screen set it's actually my Copilot at the top. So
that's it.
Yeah. So I can. So are we going to have training how to use it, or is it just a question?
Yes, I mean there will be training coming. So we're doing the pilots at the moment, and then we'll be putting some we'll be rolling it out further, and then putting further guidance and training sessions in for people.
So I could have typed in, please take up questions for Councillor Andrea Lewis, which is going to be really difficult, and it should hopefully come up with some. Yeah.
Yeah, so
yes.
well, you could, yes. I mean, you could take the report and say, what questions could I ask about this report, and it will give you some suggestions, and some will be relevant, and some won't. You might want to tweak them, but it would do exactly that.
It's really scary, actually. Okay, thank you for that. So I mean, from a councillor's perspective, when are we going to be sort of shown how we can use it better, or is it going to be some sort of seminar or something, or training sessions?
Yes, I think it'll be another couple of months, because we're just trying to iron out any findings from the pilots first, which got another couple of months to run. Then we'll do some analysis. Then when we roll it out further, we'll be able to then schedule something in. Yeah. Okay,
lovely. Thank you. Okay, so next question on the digitally skilled and confident workforce and communities. You talk about digital apprenticeships. Can you give us a bit more details about those?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've been working really closely with Gower College since 2017. At that time, we took on 4 apprentices. Those 4 were recruited permanently. However, since then, 2 of them have moved to other organisations, and 2 of them have remained within digital services. In 2022, we recruited a further 5 apprentices. 3 of those worked across server, desktop support and network services as part of the apprenticeship, and all 3 have retained roles as ICT assistants. The other 2 apprentices were recruited to application development, and again, both have roles as junior application developers. So since its inception over 2 years ago, the collaboration between the council and Gower College has delivered exceptional benefits. Not only has it enhanced the digital services team, but it has also provided the apprentices with valuable skills and professional development opportunities. So Gower College, Swansea, supported the council throughout the journey, from recruitment to providing tailored support that complemented the apprentices' hands-on role. And the council has also supported apprentices to go on and complete their degree, in addition to the apprentice original qualifications. So in February, our recent cohort had the opportunity to meet and discuss the benefits of apprenticeships with the First Minister. And we hope to recruit another cohort in the coming year. So I think it's fair to say it's been a resounding success.
And these appendages will be working within the digital services section. Okay. This is a principle I've kept all my life, is when you want something done on the internet, get a young person to do it. Yeah, so okay. Lovely. Okay, so next thing, the digitally connected city and county. I mean, we've touched on this, I think, in the questions, not just here, but on the previous item as well. But what does this actually mean? What does the outcome of digitally connected city and county mean? Are we all going to be sort of walking around with handheld computers and interacting with the council on that, or?
Well, we've been, as you know, we're part of the City Deal partnership, and a lot of it has been driven through that partnership working and the funding through City Deal. But the main, one of the main areas is us trying to attract more telecom providers to improve the infrastructure, the digital infrastructure. So things like for the public, sort of looking at broadband coverage and broadband speed. And if we are able to attract more telecom providers again, being able to get more competition, so therefore reducing the price of broadband as well, that's the long-term aim. But very much it's just about trying to improve the connectivity across the whole of the city and county over time. Getting more fibre in the ground is a key part of the City Deal programme, which has been funded. The other aspect is also improving congestion on the mobile phone network. So when we have big events such as the air show, you may look like you have 4 bars on your phone, but you can't do anything with your phone. It's because it's so congested. There's so many people trying to use it. I have that problem
in the Swans games.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah. So what we've been trying to do with that is it's part of the small cell technology. Again, we've been working with the telecom providers to improve congestion, alleviate. They have heat maps where they can see the most congested areas, and we're using our existing street furniture just to be able to alleviate that congestion, especially where we've got big events. So, and then, as we mentioned earlier, just things like sensors, the Internet of Things sensors. So, in litter bins, it twofold. One, obviously, to reduce litter for the public and reducing complaints, but secondly, operational efficiency for the services as well. So they only need to go out and empty litter bins when they know they need emptying, as opposed to having to do a routine circuit, which they're, and when you're going out to some of the very remote areas of the county, which can take time, only to find a litter bin doesn't really need emptying or has been overflowing for some time. It's a much more targeted service then, and the waste team have found this quite helpful, and we're looking at ways in which we can expand it further. And again, the other example would be just about the ring buoys in the marina. We've often found they've been tampered with, thrown in the river and things like that. So when it's actually been needed, there hasn't been one there. But obviously it's got a sensor on, so if anybody does tamper with it, we know immediately and can then sort that out. So, and there's various other sensors, air pollution, water around flooding, culverts that might be broken, gates left open. We've got a whole range of sensors across that we can implement across the city and county to sort of improve not only our own operational efficiency, but the sort of attractiveness and well-being across the city for residents as well.
Are all the new litter bins got sensors in them?
Not all of them. No, not all of them.
The new ones are putting in.
We're targeting at the moment, so we're going phase by phase, and some of it is funding, because we have a range of equipment we got from Welsh Government, but it was equipment only. So what we're looking at as well is how we can grow the funding to be able to implement and buy more sensors and roll it out further. So we're trying to grow that over time.
Yeah, a few years ago we put Wi-Fi, free Wi-Fi into the city centre. Is that still there? Because I couldn't find it when I was there earlier on.
Yes, that's still there. Yeah.
Are we talking about expanding, widening that out beyond?
Yeah, there is a project which the Place Directorate is running, which is the CCTV and Wi-Fi project that they're looking at, where they can potentially roll out further across city and county Swansea. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I've got a question of Mike White now. Mike.
I'll give you a break now, Chair.
Yeah, thank you.
Right. Thank you, Chair. Yes, I got a question in regards to the strategic goal, excellent customer service aligned with our service standards in two strands, really. First strand is we want to make it easier for people to contact the council, but it may also bring challenges for departments and services to meet the demand. Are there specific areas where customer service issues are more prevalent?
Yeah, so frequently we often see issues that are seasonal or linked to a specific event. For example, a bin lorry breaking down will result in missed call collections being reported. So there's a significant rise at that point in contact, and also with storms and flooding, which often leads to calls, different calls about flooding, trees and properties. And winter, we often see an increase in calls in terms of breakdown of boilers. And in summer, it tends to be rats and wasps' nests. So we do see peaks and troughs, but it depends on what the current issues are. And we do see that reflected in the contact with the council. And, we anticipate a lot of it as well because it is seasonal and it does tend to be repetitive as well.
Okay, Mike.
Yes, thank you. And can I just follow on that in regards to within customer service? Do we have any data on repeat callers and or common issues raised so that we can deal with these better with improved processes, etc.? Because why I say that, because we often get a lot of complaints across the same individual about the same issue. Of course, we've got to follow it up and report to as councillors. So have we got any sort of data that sort of can show that this is some sort of pattern that we get as a council?
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of the accessible data goal, the future work is to provide cabinet members and heads of service with information to target resources and make operations in their services as efficient as possible by being able to triangulate a wealth of information, including the customer contact and also the complaints data as well. So analysing the data to make sure that we make our services more efficient and more targeted, absolutely.
Yes, you can ask co-pilots. Is that for you?
We could ask what co-pilot think about it, but we'd have to analyse that response.
Okay, Mike.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Chair.
Okay, has anybody else got any questions on this item at all? I apologise because I just thought of this question. I thought of this question while we answered the question. Resilience, because we've got a lot going on here in terms of digital stuff. We're relying on it more and more. If everything breaks down, have we got backups?
Yes, I mean we've got a much far improved infrastructure now than we ever had. So yes, and obviously with the move to cloud and a lot more of being services that we're buying as opposed to us having to sort of maintain the old server in a server room sort of approach. So yes, completely different approach to delivering this as we used to. I think the challenge we have is just as you say, there's a lot of different projects, isn't there? And delivering everything all at once for services and for digital. But what we're trying to do is prioritize everything and make sure that we can deliver everything that's a priority for the council.
Yeah, I know everything's going in the cloud and stuff, but if a server breaks down, do we have backup servers off-site and stuff like that? If something happens, I dealt with this in what is now the Senate, when we had that, because I think we set up virtually an entirely separate system in case things go down, particularly around the meetings. So do we have something similar to that, or was that just too expensive?
We wouldn't be able to afford to have an entirely replicated infrastructure. That would be way too costly. But we do have, we have backup arrangements, and both for server backup and we have a data backup as well.
Okay, obviously you don't want to go into detail on that in public anyway, so that's fine. I just want to be reassured on that, on the resilience side of things. Lovely. If no one else has got any questions, well, thank you very much indeed. It's been really illuminating, I think, and I'm sure we've all learned something. Thanks very much indeed. Thank you. Okay, so next item is item 8. Councillor Lyndon Jones has sent us apologies and he's asked this to be deferred to the next meeting. So if we're as agreeable to that, we'll defer this to the next meeting. I've seen no dissent, so I shall agree. I think everyone's happy with that. Membership of scrutiny panels and working groups on item 9. There aren't any changes to report, so that report though is just for noting. And then item 10 is the scrutiny work programme. The main item, the next committee meeting is actually only 3 weeks away, I'm afraid, because we're shadowing cabinet meetings. So we may, just in case you want to call anything in, and we're going to be looking at crime and disorder scrutiny. So we'll have the annual item with the partnership joint chairs representatives, which I suspect is Andrew as well, actually, here to report on the performance of the Safer Swansea partnership. And then item 11, scrutiny letters. Just draw your attention to the first letter, which is the working group on agile working scrutiny working group, it's called. That letter summarises the outcome of that meeting, and that has gone off to the cabinet member for a response. And no doubt in a few months' time, well, 12 months' time, we'll be following up whatever reply Stuart Rice gets on that letter to make sure that that whatever the cabinet member has said they're going to do, they have actually done. So just draw your attention to that particular letter. There's some interesting stuff in that letter. And item 12 then, date and upcoming scrutiny panel working group meetings. And the next meeting, as I said, is Tuesday the 8th of April at 4 o'clock. So unless anyone else has anything else, thank you very much for attending. It's been a short but interesting meeting, and I will see you next time. Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, bye.